Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Erin and I'm a holistic health coach, and I've been studying health and healing and working with people to feel good in their bodies and create more healthful lives for themselves for the past 10 years. So currently I'm 20 weeks pregnant, and today I want to share with you some of the ways I prepared myself physically for getting pregnant. So before I get started, feel free to connect with me over on Instagram. I'm at Erin with 2 N's, and I'll link that below. Be sure to subscribe to this channel if you want more content about holistic health and natural pregnancy. So if you are interested in pregnancy, I have a playlist on pregnancy as well, so check that out. So before we jump into the ways I've physically prepared myself for this journey, I also want to mention that I have a video on the ways that I mentally prepared for pregnancy and birth, which I feel like is just as important, maybe even more than the physical ways I prepared. So I will link that down in the description as well. I highly suggest watching that video once you're done with this one. So if you're familiar with my story, you know that I've been on a healing journey with my body for the last 10 plus years, and that's really what propelled me into health coaching in the first place. I love natural healing, working with herbs, energy healing, emotional healing, high nutritional foods, and I take a holistic approach to health, which means that I look at all of the aspects of my life that affect my health, not just nutrition and exercise. So if that's your vibe, then keep watching. I also want to say that this is what has worked for me, not to say that this is the perfect list or the holy grail or the right way to do it, but I just hope that you can find something for this list that resonates with you. So feel free to take whatever resonates and leave the rest, as we are all so unique and different, and you may need something different than what I need. So this is just me sharing my experience in the hope that there's something here that is helpful for you. Okay, so the first thing I did to prepare myself physically for pregnancy is cleansing. So I got all of my levels tested through a practitioner that's here in San Diego where I live. If you are in the local area of San Diego, contact me. She is amazing, amazing price, amazing person, just like such a non-invasive test. It's called a Meridian Stress Assessment Test. So you can get yourself tested in whatever way or whatever means feels good to you. If you want to do that through your doctor or a naturopath or whatever that looks like, fine. I personally prefer not to take the Western medicine route when I can avoid it. So I loved this option for myself. It was so amazing. It showed me the levels of all of my different organ systems, my hormone levels, what was going on in terms of toxins in my body, and basically like all of my minerals and vitamins and basically every single thing you could hope to know about what's going on in your body. So that really worked well for me. It was non-invasive, and I just enjoy her as a practitioner. So again, if you're looking for a recommendation, contact me. So my husband and I started trying to get pregnant in January of 2022, and I started my cleansing, I would say, in August of 2021. So I went and got this test done, and I found out, first of all, that I had parasites. I did cleansing, but I did many different kinds of cleansing. So parasite cleansing is sort of the first thing that I did. So parasites are very, very common. We most likely all have parasites. It's really common in other countries around the world to cleanse from parasites yearly. So especially if you're having digestive issues or weird inflammation in your body, I highly suggest getting tested for parasites and cleansing those parasites before you get pregnant, especially if you eat sushi or raw fish. So if that's something that you eat a lot or you enjoy a lot, something that I really did, I don't anymore because now I know what it did to my stomach. But anyways, if that's something that you eat a lot or enjoy a lot, I definitely suggest getting tested for parasites and cleansing for parasites before you try to get pregnant. So I had major digestive issues and was diagnosed with a basically incurable autoimmune disease, which I now found out was parasites. So I did a parasite cleanse, which completely changed my entire experience of my digestive system and allowed me to eat things that I wasn't able to eat for like 10 years, etc. So I highly recommend getting yourself tested, but also tested for parasites, especially if you have gut issues, because you really don't want to have gut issues or any major issues when you're growing a human being. If you're interested in doing just general gut healing stuff, I have a video where I talk about my favorite gut healing products and practices. I suggest you check that video out. I will link that in the description. So the next thing I did was I cleansed myself and my home of toxins. So in this test that I mentioned that I took, there was high levels of many different heavy metals and fluoride and a bunch of different things that I don't want to pass on to my baby. So I did a specific environmental toxin cleanse that this practitioner offered. I also took lots of Epsom salt and baking soda baths. I drank lots of chlorophyll water. I eliminated sugar and processed foods from my diet, which I don't typically eat a lot of processed foods or sugar, because it's just not great for you anyways. And then I also got a fluoride filter for my shower. So if you are interested in going more toxin free, if this is something that you want to pursue, I have an entire video where I talk about a few simple ways that you can get started on your journey with living more toxin free in your home, in your body. I'll link that below as well. Okay, so the next thing that I did was I focused on nourishing my nervous system and my adrenals. So I knew that I was highly overstimulated, which most of us are in this culture, right? We're like drinking coffee, we're stimulated by our phones, the internet, TV, all these things, a busyness in general. And so a lot of us have nervous systems that are in overdrive, and this causes stress and inflammation in the body. So it's really not ideal for getting pregnant or growing life inside of you when your system is in a lot of stress. So that's one thing that I did. So I did a lot of nervous system healing practices, like using oat straw and supplementing with ashwagandha. Those are two great herbs that I highly suggest that you check out if you are finding that you are anxious or stressed out. I have a Nervine herbs video on my channel. You should watch that as well, where I talk about herbs that nourish the nervous system. That's a great one. Also, body oiling. I did a lot of body oiling, and I still do. And it's a practice of nourishing your nervous system immediately through your skin with just oil, which you can make on your own. I'll put a video on that below as well. The next thing I want to mention that I cleansed myself from was alcohol and cannabis. I've never really been a huge drinker, but I know that drinking isn't contributing to my body being in a state of well-being. So most of the time I was cleansing in 2021, I was not drinking alcohol because it's not conducive to gut healing or parasite cleansing or any type of cleansing for that matter. And then January 2022, I was for sure off of alcohol. I also stopped smoking cannabis. So cannabis is something that I had been using daily pretty much for almost 10 years. And I knew it was something that was stimulating me. I had mentioned nervous system and adrenals, but for me, cannabis was something that was giving me energy when I didn't have energy. So essentially I was using it like coffee. And I could just tell it was stressing out my system. I didn't want to have cannabis in my system, in my baby's system. So I had read somewhere that when you get pregnant, your previous 3 months of nutrition goes into the baby. So I really wanted to make sure that I was cleansed of cannabis and alcohol for the most part. And so that is something that I also stopped using altogether. And God, am I so glad I did. I feel so much better. And I feel like the energy that I have is the true energy that I have. I'm not actually borrowing from my body's reserves. So just like asking yourself, is there something that I'm using or addicted to or that's in my system that I wouldn't actually want to give my baby? That would be something that would be good to eliminate. So next is practices around grounding. So pregnancy and birth is a very emotionally charged topic. There's a lot of trauma, there's a lot of fear, and so a lot can come up in pregnancy and childbirth. So I knew that I really needed to practice staying in my body, reminding myself that I'm safe, and grounding myself through exercise, stretching, And yeah, just taking care of my body in terms of movement. I'd also say I want to highlight the importance of stretching, especially now that I'm halfway through this pregnancy and I'm to the point where my belly is really starting to get bigger. I can feel a little bit of that round ligament pain. Things are stretching out, and it's becoming increasingly more important for me to stretch every day just to make sure that I'm like supporting my body to expand. So I would say too that creating some sort of routine around stretching, even if it's just for 5 minutes before bed or in the morning or both, ideally, creating some sort of, habit around stretching is really, really highly recommended. Next, I want to say that it's important that you're sourcing high quality protein. So it's really important to be getting enough protein in pregnancy. I've read some different sources that have said between 60 and 75 grams of protein a day, which is a lot. And I personally struggle to get that much protein in. So especially if you're a vegan or a vegetarian, it's really important that you learn other ways to get in high quality sources of protein. I've been eating a lot of eggs, high quality meats, beans, chia seeds, high quality protein powder and protein shakes and things like that. So definitely just something to be aware of, that it's really important. It's important anyways to get in a lot of protein as a woman, but it's especially important when you are growing a human life, because protein is literally what your body needs to build that life. So it's very, very important to have enough protein. Next thing is supplementing with a high quality prenatal vitamin. So I started taking a prenatal about 5 or so months before I actually got pregnant. And I continued throughout the first few months of pregnancy. Now, after doing a lot of research and just talking to a lot of women who are in this pregnancy and birth community that I'm a part of, a lot of them are taking beef liver, which is high in minerals and vitamins and iron and protein and just a lot of things that are really good for pregnancy. And it's an ancestral food that a lot of our ancestors ate. I personally am not into just eating straight up liver, so I take it in supplement form. And I really enjoy that as well. So I just tend to think that it is better to front load your nutrients before pregnancy and during pregnancy, because the body prioritizes the baby. So if you are deficient in anything, that nutrient or mineral, whatever it is in your body, is going to go to the baby first, which means if you're already deficient, you're going to be even more deficient, which I can imagine would lead to a more difficult and unpleasant pregnancy. So personally, I've had 0 morning sickness, which I attribute to the high levels of nutrients and supplementing and herbs and the quality and the care of the nutrition that I've had in my body before pregnancy. I've been really aware of drinking a lot of water, drinking minerals and electrolytes. These are also things that you want in your body as you're pregnant, because it's easy to get dehydrated. So minerals, electrolytes, collagen, all these types of things that keep your body, elastic and keep, things circulating, water circulating, all these things. You don't want to be dehydrated. You don't want to be dry. You don't want to be stiff in pregnancy. So that's my list. If you have any other tips, if you're a mom or a pregnant woman and you have any other tips for how you physically prepared for pregnancy, please share them down in the comments. I'd love to hear, and I'm sure other women who are watching this would love to hear other suggestions as well. I've also created a video about all the ways I mentally prepared myself for pregnancy and birth, which I think are extremely important, as a lot of anxiety and fear and stress can come up mentally in this process. So I highly recommend checking that out. If you're wanting support with integrating any of these things physically or mentally throughout your pregnancy or in preparation for getting pregnant, I do one-on-one coaching, and I'll put the links for working with me and the information for all of that down in the description box. You can check that out as well. Otherwise, I have tons of free videos on beginner herbalism, gut health and healing, many of the other things that I mentioned in this video. I will link them in the description box. You can check those out. You can also come visit me on Instagram. I'm at Erin with 2 N's. I'll link that as well. If you liked this video, if you found it helpful, please give it a thumbs up. and subscribe if you want more videos and content from me. I also have a pregnancy playlist, as I mentioned, and I have an herbalism for beginners video if you're interested in incorporating some herbs into your health routine to just boost your system and become more healthy. Guys, I'm sending you so much love and blessings on your journey, and please let me know in the description box which of these things you are going to try in preparation for getting pregnant or for your pregnancy. So much love, friends. See you soon.